We're back again doing the same thing that we've been doing, but I was doing this this morning. Like I just woke up, I'm looking at the market, and I'm just like, I'm getting all these notifications, and I'm thinking everybody else is getting these exact same notifications, and one of two things is happening. Well, I guess the third thing, maybe a fourth thing. But the two main things that are important is either A, people are getting notifications and they're selling or right at a loss, or B, people are getting the notifications and they're buying all in, which is not a bad thing depending on the market. But I'm using the new crypto screener in TradingView, which is down here as opposed to over here. I made another video on it, but we're gonna sort it by we're gonna sort it by change percentage, and we're gonna do pretty much the most important thing, which is to gain perspective on where we're at in the market. Okay, now that we got this set up, I'm super pumped because I've got like my setup, which I didn't have before, but I'm venturing into new businesses that require me to actually have all of this set up. So you get to benefit that I like to make crypto videos. So here's what we're gonna do. Return this ProSum Solutions QFL indicator by Vinny, which is a paid indicator, but it used to be free and you should have got it, and it's super awesome because you're going to see it over here. Boop. All right, okay, I keep saying like I'm going to do this, we're going to go fast, but actually I was doing this on my phone and I was going really fast on my phone. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video and we're gonna do it as fast as we can. Let's go through all the markets. So actually we're gonna go to this guy right here, and you're just gonna watch me just mark up, and we're gonna mark up the charts with this price range tool. And if you haven't watched a prior video, I like going 35% below the base for trading QFL, or 55% from top to bottom from like the previous reset high. And shoot, what else was I gonna point out? Oh yeah, so and my biggest thing that I keep saying is like, look, price does come down 35% or even more. And as I was doing it on my phone, I was like, see, that came down 35%. So we're gonna see what's going on. I'll do like a before, and like, you know what I mean, I'll do one of these, and that's cool. It notifies it right there, but obviously that's not 35%. So you're gonna see like, okay. And then the other thing that we want to pay attention to is not just below a base, and I'm not going to draw a base. Some of these are already going to have this because I was just doing this morning on my phone, and I'm like, okay, well, that's the base, so that'll actually speed things up. In this case, I guess it's like a meme coin. I was looking on my my whatever trading app. So I would have actually, even though this had like a dip down right there, I mean, I guess I would have put, if I would have looked on the 1 hour, but I would be looking, that's just a great price. Like, think about this. Let's do this. Okay, so this whole move, like from here down to here, can I grab this? Like, I mean, maybe like a little bit more, but keep in mind, let's not break rules. This coin just started out, so there's like no history. I mean, usually with those coins, they'll just tank and tank and tank. So, can't break that rule. They're just QFL rules. They cannot be broken. I mean, you can break them, but the thing about QFL is it is a 98, 99% success rate if you combine two ingredients. I mean, it really is two ingredients. Like, first ingredient is a a base crack, and you have to qualify a base, and you have to qualify the chart and all that stuff to get that first ingredient. So, there's rules to that particular getting a qualified base. That's just how it is. And then the second thing is a panic drop. And you combine those two together, and it's like baking soda and vinegar or something. Now this is kind of a grind, but I'm still going to put that there. But in this case, you can kind of see like, what's my insurance? My insurance is this one. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Even with a base crack, that's not like a panic drop, and we're on a 4-hour chart, so it's like very clear as day. I'm going to try and get through as many of these. Like, this video is already about 6 minutes in, and I like to keep the videos under 30 minutes, but sometimes they just get out of control. We're looking at all this stuff going on right here. And you might be asking yourself, okay, well, where the heck am I buying? And in previous videos, which, again, just that's what those previous videos are for, so I don't have to repeat myself, but I guess in this case, I'm all right to kind of go over the basics as we're doing this, but oops, no, oh, yeah, look at that. You're wanting to, let's take a look at this. You're wanting to create a safe circle of where price previously had dropped. This is reactive trading, but at the same time, you are kind of predicting where price is going to go and then buying outside of those bounds. So in this case, if people are like, oh, it doesn't go down 35%, and yep, there's rules. Like, if it's a weak bounce, this was kind of a weak bounce. I mean, look at that. Well, 20%, but still, like, that's still compared to what it usually does. Like, you are wanting to, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a, and again, you can see these bounces. That's a weak bounce compared to what it's been doing. But you do want to kind of get the average drop and then buy outside of its bounds, so you can get an idea. So if it went down, 16%, then you can take another one of these and say, okay, well, I'm going to start buying it like right there. And then anywhere outside of here is going to be a lot safer. And then this is the one thing that I keep saying over and over again is like, hey, just in my experience, trading post 2017, 2018 crypto markets, we're talking like, 2019, 2020, 20, all the way up till 2025, right? I've found that not all the time price will go back to the base immediately. A lot of coins have just been straight up dying. They're just like, and then they die. I'm trying to create as many tools as I can to make sure that people don't buy in the wrong places or buy too soon. Because like, I was zoomed in. So this is the reason why I'm on camera right now. So I'm drawing these charts up this morning, and I'm like, I'm getting all these notifications, and I'm like, oh wow, the market must really be like going down. I'm like, well, let's take a look. And I'm looking at this one chart, and I'm just like, yeah, this doesn't really look, something doesn't seem right. I'm like, let's take a look at some of these other markets. And I'm like, well, you know what to do, because it's really easy to lose sight. It's really easy to like look at this indicator and just not really like, I just need to clear off my chart, look at price action without any indicators, and do this. And as I started doing this, I was like, these aren't really great prices. Well, which one is that? Ren? Oh, this one snuck in. Oh, because I need to hit the refresh icon. I'm not going to worry about the refresh icon right now. We're just going to try and get as many of these as we can. But wow. Uh-oh. Look at that. 35% on sale. Wow. So, I mean, look, like, this is exactly, like, come on. And then let's look at the friggin' Vinny Pro Sum Solutions thing. Look at that. And this is like hybrid A/B trading over here, but, or I guess over here. I don't know which way the camera angle is. I'm doing at first I was doing the nice lens, but then I was like, screw that. I'm just going to flip it around and do the selfie camera. But you can see, look, it's giving a discount. And it was buying way up, I guess, in this area over here. Because it was just a straight drop down. And to them, that was 55%. So from here, woo. Sorry. Hold on. Let me make this 55%. Now let's move this down. It's saying, hybrid A/B trading. And you can see, this is, look, prime example. Like, let's actually look at the history of the chart. I like to even go out on the daily or the weekly. Or, I guess monthly too, but I like to be like, okay, who's been losing money up in here? How bad has the money been getting lost? These are the lowest prices that you've ever seen. Like, even with that huge drop and it going down. So when I'm looking at like the full perspective of this, I'm like, dang, could this coin just be dying? I don't care. Personally, I don't try and put all my value in one coin. Even coins that are dying, I've made, substantial gains, and I'll keep the free coins or whatever, but you see what I'm saying? I'm just like, don't put all your money in. What is that? A 35% drop. You had some grinding right here. So again, coming back to my point, I got some perspective looking at these charts doing this, and I'm like, you know what? These aren't really great places to buy. Some of these coins are, and we are sorting them based on the change percentage in 24 hours. That's something that's nice. Sometimes I'll sort by volatility. Side note, I was messing around with DEX, decentralized exchanges. Why is this not working? Oh, it is working. It's just zoomed out a whole bunch. Wow. Anyways, I was messing with, DEXs and MetaMask wallet. I think it's called MetaMask. Sorry if it's not. Anyways, I was messing with it, and I get the concept now. I still have lots to learn about it, but I've been putting it off for a while. But it's actually really cool, and I think I might make a video just kind of explaining, like, hey, this is what it is. I've had people reach out to me, and I'm like, I don't want to learn this stuff. I understand, trading on centralized exchanges and wallets. That I understand. I'm like, decentralized exchanges, but it was really simple. I'm not going to go into it right now because I really don't know enough about it to like speak from a stance of authority. But I will say that it was actually a lot easier than that I was anticipating. And what I thought in my mind was, I was like, so this is how people are losing money. Wow, look in this case. See, with these grinds and stuff like that, this is the problem with grinds is like you get these grinds, and let's say like the bottom is 35% and you were to put your base right here. Like, where the heck would you have put your, like, it's literally just, it's not bouncing, it's not doing what you want. So in this case, like, this is why you would nibble. Like, even if you were to nibble, you're like, oh, well, that's kind of a panic drop, and then it starts going down further and further. You're like, okay, thank God I nibbled and put like 1/100th of my lowest size, or 1/50th. Oh, this is Vine. I was researching Vine. I was actually looking at this chart. I was like, what's going on with Vine? I was like, that's the Vine logo from 2014 or 2013 or whenever. And the guy is like, it's a meme coin apparently. Meme coins. All right. So anyways, another thing that I noticed, because this market is pretty different than we've seen. So the 2017 market, I caught like the tail end of it. So I wasn't trading with crypto. I was just buying it on Coinbase, and then waited all throughout the 2019s, 2020s, 2021. Then that's when I was like for real trading. And then 2022, 2023, I was still trading, but I just reduced so much of my size and just reinvested into really myself. And there is, man, I mean, there's a lot of money in crypto, but there's a lot of money in businesses. Like the multiplier and what you can make in businesses, it's insane. It's so important to, if you're operating trading as a business, to really consider those things. But looking at this market, I'm realizing that something is different. The Bitcoin dominance chart, for instance, it's still climbing. And in 2021, it snapped, and then it was like alt season. And so I've been paying attention to that chart, and I'm like, okay, what's going on over here? Isn't this crazy? Look, 35%. Like, are you seeing this? But yeah, coming back to my point is that I think that we're seeing some of the lowest lows in a lot of coins, and there's something to be said about that. That there's a good chance that, you know, that this whole like crypto boom thing, while it has been like incredibly good volatile wise, like making way more gains than like the stock market, for instance, that it may still be tethered to the stock market way more than we're leading on. So the question is like, holy crap, what's going on over here? Oh yeah. We had talked about this before in a previous video, and we marked it up. And look, this is great. So actually, this needs to be over here. Oh, well, really, because it came down, bam, bam, and so that's the new base. We should probably move that over here. And you know what's funny is now these two are kind of aligned. Isn't this crazy? Like, I draw these and I'm like, price ain't going down there, and then it does, and I'm like, oh. I'm not saying it did, but you can see that it hit this base, and then it came back up. It respected that base, and it probably only came down like a little bit. And in this case, maybe it might come down to just only here. You know what I mean? Because I think that's the biggest thing. It's just, I don't know. I'm seeing like these really bizarre charts where I'm like, aren't we in the post halving season where markets are supposed to do this, and it's not doing this? And I'm like, okay, well, it's not repeating the pattern that I was expecting it to repeat, and so now I have to default back to what I know to be true, which the only thing that I can really guarantee you this entire time has been QFL. And again, those are the two things: drawing a base, which in this case you can see. Can I get this tool over here? Yeah. Because I'm not drawing bases like these little yellow bars, just because I feel like they lately have been getting in the way of me looking at a chart. I'm like, God, get this yellow crap out of here. I really like these. Oh, and if yours doesn't look like how mine looks like, that's because I'm taking all this crap out, like label background, and what else is there? There's some other arrow thing that I'm taking out. The line, I think I turned the opacity down. Yeah, it's got this weird, ugly line. I turned the opacity down on that. I was like, ugh, get that off my chart. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm going based off of like what I've seen time and time again, year after year after year. Is this the same chart? I haven't even been looking at the I guess it's on this side, the QFL ProSum Solutions indicator. And it is really helpful just to see kind of where layers are. I think what's cool about that indicator is that that as you get down lower, it keeps giving more space before it puts more layers. I really like that because there's something about that, like giving the market time instead of just kind of like throwing a bunch of like money grenades at the market and being like, all right, now it's going to go back up, and then it just keeps going down further and further. It's kind of like, oh wow, you can kind of pace yourself. Like as the market starts going down further, you're like, oh well, here, let me throw some more money at that. Like that for me, when I saw the indicator doing exactly that, I was like, and then seeing it work, then that was a big shift for me to see that. Even though with the QFL stuff, usually it's like he's doing it a little bit different than the ProSum Solutions is doing it, and he'll get in and out like real fast. Like he won't hold on to stuff when he's like further up on the chart, but he's trying to get those low prices. He really is. Okay. But you can see like with the ProSum Solutions bot, it's just buying and then selling at a profit, buying and selling at a profit all the way down. And it does, I've seen the QFL charts look like this. It's just that the bot over here is getting like way more size way sooner, whereas the QFL strategy is getting all of his size like way down towards the bottom, but he'll get size sooner if it's panicking faster. And he does know his, like you can tell, I can tell that he really is looking at his charts. He is reading the charts beforehand. So he is studying the charts. He is looking at the charts. Like for instance, like this chart just showed up. Like this is a brand new chart. Now it may be somewhere else. There may be more history that I don't know about, but in terms of like, I'm going to guess that's like a relatively recent coin. And even still, like that's just brand new to this exchange. So chances are, I don't know. If it's a brand new chart, then that's going to change how I feel about it. Yeah. All right. Let's put this down here. And so then here's another thing that I was thinking about was like, well, it's been on this huge like downtrend. I guess that's when it started. But if this was just like a regular chart, then the question would be like, well, it's been on a downtrend. Like if it keeps going further down, then, like even if it comes down and comes back up, like, can I just still buy it like right here, even though it hasn't cracked this base? Like, why do I have to be nibbling again? You see what I'm saying? Like, I think about that sometimes, and I think there is a little bit of like, okay, well, if the chart is still irrationally low, like if it's still you got to think about in terms of just the value of the coin itself. Is like, do you think that that's irrationally low? And there is a little bit of that. Like if we just keep going down further and further and further, and it's like, wait a second, this is definitely lower than it's supposed to be, then I think there is an element of that, because that's the whole point of this whole strategy is price is just irrationally low. And then, when it rebounds, people are like, holy crap, I can't believe I didn't buy it at that price. Like there is an element to that I've said in previous videos. I haven't said it recently. But it's that the thrift store Black Friday mentality, where you're trying to get a good deal on something. And that's really like at the heart, like that is the engine that's driving all of this. Is like, it's not about like some little trick to, if you click your heels 3 times, then you're going to make money. No, it's understanding human psychology, and it's a forever thing. Like it's not, people have been like, well, does QFL still work? And it's like, well, it still works. It's just, how do people feel about this market right now? So that's the real main thing, is like, it still works. It's just kind of like, QFL made a video about like, what is your edge? Parts 1 and parts 2. And it was such a fantastic one. And what was interesting was he actually listed like QFL as like a previous edge, meaning there was the possibility he was hinting at like the markets in 2017 when he shot all of his videos was a different market than now, because all of this like institutional money hadn't stepped in. And this is a tricky one, but yeah, I mean, it was like definitely eye-opening for me to see him put it in that category of like, hey, this might not be like an edge. But the point that I got from it was that, you know, he was saying you always want to be finding your edge. And but at the same time, it's kind of like there's still markets in crypto that are volatile and they're moving and people are interested in them, and people are reacting. Like when this dropped down, for instance, on comp, I mean, that's not a really good, even if that's not a really good base, you know, right here. And you could see, I mean, really the whole base, actually, here, let's use this. And by the way, I'm using this horizontal ray, which is awesome. And I like it because it just makes it go off to infinity. If I don't like it, I'll just delete it. I don't need to have one of these like trend lines that's like floppy, or you know, one of these rays, or even a horizontal line. I've really enjoyed the horizontal ray, and it's got this cool little Alt or Option J. Look at that, man. These are, you know, people may look at this and they'll see this and go, well, we're still under, you see what I mean? We're still under this base. And so like, why are you nibbling right here when it's still under the base? And it's because when price comes down and then it comes back up, people kind of normalize and they're like, okay, you know what? People will come to accept things a lot quicker than you'd think. Like I know somebody, one of their social media accounts got deleted, and it's, you know, I think that is a big deal, and I would have maybe spent some more time trying to get it back. But by the time that I got a hold of them, I thought that they were going to be devastated when I was on the phone, and they were already cool with it. And they're like, I've already made peace with it. And they were like, I don't want to think about it again. So you got to think the same thing. Like when you see something like this happen, what is this meme? You got to think, you know what I mean? Like, and actually, let's take a look at this. So it kind of did this little, and then it dropped. So you could say, oh, well, the grind was, you know, right there, and that's when the panic drop, right? And then, oh, there's your 35%. But let's take a look at the bounce, because I think this is also important. Dude, that's a huge bounce. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get a huge bounce like that, like 37%, and you're not selling at that point, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen enough of these, like, at that point, like, you shouldn't be salty it didn't come back up to here, because, like, and this, you know, again, it's like a newer coin and all of this, and that's why I'm, like, putting all these numbers out here. I mean, you can see, like, I'm putting this one right here, and people might be like, well, you know, you know, like, right here, it's just 35%. And then you could say, you know, like, you could almost get paralysis just being really confused about where to buy. And look at that, 55%. So if you're looking at this number, I always go to, right, it says 0.00404. Well, I only care about the 4 and the 0, so 40. So obviously half of that is 20, like right here. So, I mean, there's a good chance that it's going to get to this number right here, and it's a psychological, it's like a bus stop. People are, they're going to stop right there. Man, I wanted to get through more of these. I was going way faster on my phone. I've gotten really good at it. You know. Yep. Let's see how many. Also, you know, I've been hinting at that I'm going to be doing another QFL video, like an actual for real, not like a podcasty me talking type of video, but I'm going to do a so funny. people will be like, well, that was a major news related drop, something about the tariffs or whatever related to the stock market. Still, I mean, who knows what's going to happen next week? What's going to happen in the news this week? Like, are you going to make money off of that? Or are you going to complain that like that normally doesn't happen? No, this is the whole point of QFL. Is like you make your money off of the emotions. So, measure the emotions, not like what's happening in the real world. Like somebody was describing like text messaging. I buy a lot of educational courses. And one of them was describing text messaging as like a vacuum. When you communicate with somebody, they don't think about you as a person. They don't think about your face. They don't see your face. All they see are these little text bubbles, and then they're using their imagination. And so it's outside of the real world. It's not the real world. Like, when you order food, you're in a vacuum of what it looks like on the menu. And then when you get the food, it's something completely different. And so you're in this little, reality. And so with these charts, that's kind of how I feel about it. Is like, I don't care about the news. I mean, I do care about the news, but at the same time, it's like, I don't necessarily care about the news. I just care about what I'm seeing on the chart, because this chart right here is what's going to make me the money. Like this, I can measure. It's more tangible. Whereas like the news outside of here, outside of this little bubble that we're in, isn't part of this vacuum so much as like, when the news happens, you don't see any news on this chart right here, but you can look at this chart and read it, and you don't need news. Like news is optional for you to understand what's going on. I mean, it's helpful and sometimes it is vital and essential, but it's still gonna look exactly like what we're looking like. And usually it doesn't go outside of its bounds. Actually, I was watching this one guy who is an amazing stock market guy, Adam Koo. I haven't seen his videos in a while, so if that's not his name, my bad. But he had a chart of like how often charts drop in the stock market, and it was like the exact same as crypto. I mean, they're the exact same measurements, except with crypto, it's like twice as volatile. But he has these like, it's going to drop this much, like a huge drop only this many times a year, or this many times in like several years or something like that. And it's like you could take that and apply it to crypto charts, just with higher volatility. And man, I hope I took a screenshot of it. I know the video, I can go on my watch history. But real quick, can you see as I'm drawing these, like, yes, I am kind of caring for it like this. I'm like, okay, well, that's the base. But then it'll kind of do this little right here. And again, we are on a 4-hour. Like this is me just speeding through it. But if I see a wick right there, and I'm going to care about the bodies just a little bit more than the wicks sometimes. That's just what I'm going to do. And you could even see this grind right here. But part of like this 35% is helpful for me, because on the one hand, it's kind of like, like that right there. You keep seeing that in the chart over and over again. Like this drop was definitely a significant drop, and we haven't come back to that base. And there is a part of me that's like, well, we haven't come back to this base. So I do think that in the back of my head when I'm doing this, where I'm like, well, there's all this grinding and stuff like that. But then there's another part of me that's like, but still, like, we were at, like, at the beginning of the year, we were at 1 cent, and now we're at like freaking 0.002. Like, it's gone down like 80% since the beginning of the year. Like, oh my gosh, that's insane. How long is this? And again, like, look, if I'm going to trade this, whoa, I want to see the history of the chart. And it doesn't have a lot of history. I mean, like, we're creating the lowest lows that this chart has ever seen. But you can see this Vinny bot just keeps trading and just keeps going, keeps working because it's giving a discount. Keeps giving a discount. Okay, ZK, where is that? That's this one right here. I love doing this. It really normalizes all these notifications because I'm not looking at the chart like this, and ideally, like if I'm going to be trading, I'm going to have my charts that I really care about. I'm going to be looking at them, but I'm also going to be looking at the market, like when those notifications happen. Like if this is, I treat this like a job, and I'm not really like working this like a job. I'm like working this as like, an highly enthusiastic enthusiast of crypto. Because you can't stop looking at this stuff. Like even if, because I wanted to make it like a job where I was like, I'm going to pay my bills trading crypto. And then once I realized, I'm like, oh, this is like a seasonal thing. Okay. This is, I need to keep focusing on like business stuff. But you can focus on this stuff like a business. It's just kind of like definitely more seasonal. And if you're trading stocks and all that stuff, then it's just kind of like the market wakes up and then you're just focusing on this a little bit more. But you can see like as I'm doing this, like I'm going to be paying attention to charts a whole lot more if I'm going to be trading this with a lot of size. I'm going to pay attention to a lot more of these charts. And so that's why, like, when I'm getting these alerts, I'm like, well, I would be doing this. Like, I would be doing this before I got those alerts in the first place, like the screener alerts and stuff like that. And then I would already have my charts that I've, picked out. And then I would have my layers. My layers would be set right now on my coins right now. But I'm just surprised that as we're doing this, some of these, I get why I've gotten as many notifications as I have. I was just surprised. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Like I thought it was going to be like this, like again, and it kind of is. But at the same time, it's like, as we're doing this, I'm kind of like not as, like I just thought it would be. I thought we would be already towards like the bottom. I thought it would be more like we'd be down here or something like that. And so when I was getting all these notifications, I'm thinking to myself, and I said at the beginning of the video that, there's probably going to be a lot of people thinking that we're at the bottom. And I'm like, I need to make a video about that, because there's probably going to be a bunch of people that are thinking that now is the time to slam your biggest size. And to be fair, probably there's going to be a lot of people that are already deep into a trade when they're watching this. And I do want to make that QFL video of like what to do when you've like bought up here or anywhere, really, like even like right here. It doesn't even seem like that much, but like from here down to right here, like that's almost, half is down here. Like, so if you put in like 10 grand up here, then that's like now 5 grand. And think about like, if somebody puts 10 grand in, it's like enough to be very, very meaningful. Like, so, even if it's like right here, still it's like, you can feel the pain of that. And so the question is like, well, if the chart has just been going down and down and down for the past month, like, could it continue to go down and down and down? There's lots of headroom. This was a big volatile bounce, and like the rules with volatility is like QFL is less effective and the moves are like more pronounced and the bases are less respected because of this. This is definitely like a longer spark of volatility, but it has been respecting bases. But in this case, I'm like, that was a grind. Like that, it's not as good looking as you'd think it would be. And so I do want to make a video covering, what to do. Like, well, really, there's only two things to do. You either hold it or you sell it at a loss. And, as QFL says, you always sell on a bounce, even if there's a loss. And he said, usually, like, when you do sell, 2 hours later, it just goes right up to the base. And so, like, that is definitely something to consider is like, well, there is there is the chance that it could keep going further down. And, yes, I'm going to have to accept when I sell that's the moment that it's going to go up. I mean, that is the market is timed for you. Like, it is timed just for you. You got to think about that. So, like, the moment that you sell, it's going to do that. Like, that's how this works. That's why QFL works. Like, if you've ever been like learned anything about like slot machines, casinos, stuff like that, like those machines they've studied humans and they've run them through algorithms, and they understand human psychology of like when you buy and when you sell, as just like your generic human. Like, they know that. And I've been with somebody and we went to a casino, and it was like a slot machine that had a card on it, and they knew the strategy of the slot machine, and they were with somebody who was like an addictive gambler. And the person that was he was like, here, I will show you, like, because the guy, it was a bad problem for this guy. Holy crap, what happened here? Ooh. A lot of volatility, sogginess, drop. But the guy that, had a hard time gambling, we went in there and the guy was helping him out, and he was like, here, let me show you. Like, this is what you do. You build these rules, and like when this happens, you need to like exit. Like, we're going to put in $20 in this card. If it goes up, then we make money. If it goes down, then, and once we hit like zero and it's our money, then we're done. And every time, I forget what the rules were exactly, but it was one of those things where like he would pull the card out and then he would get like a new card, and the machine would like reward you. Jeez, that's brutal. But yeah, so we ended up making money. But I always remember that. I was like, when this was before QFL, but when I saw QFL and I understood it, I was like, oh, I get this. This is like exactly like that casino card game. And so that, like, what I'm doing right here, to me, is the exact same thing as the casino. And another thing too, which is kind of hilarious, is my great grandfather, like towards the end of his life, he had figured out like horse racing, but he was too old to get taken to the track. But he had figured out this like algorithm, and when my dad saw what I was doing with cryptocurrency, he was like, he's like, it's funny that that you're doing this, because what this reminds me of is what your great grandfather was trying to do. And he said that all of us were like, he's crazy. Like, the dude is just crazy. Like, don't take him to the track, because he was that old. But my dad would always listen to him, and he'd be like, now listen, this is what you have to do. And my dad could probably tell this better than me. But he was like, so what you have to do is, it's a specific strategy. You take this specific horse that's in this place, and you bet on it this certain amount of times with this much money. And then after a certain amount of time, like, that blew my mind when I heard that story. I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is exactly. And he said, and you're lucky because you get to do this with, you have the freedom to do this, whereas he didn't. But jeez. Oh, that's just terrible. But this whole thing, like with QFL, you have to understand that that really is the case with this stuff. This is potent, and if it's that potent, then it's like it's a glitch in the matrix, like what we're doing right here. and you're not supposed to make money this way, and they're really trying to see that you don't make money. And like, here's a prime example of this. Like, price comes down and it goes beyond 35%, right below the base. And let's just say you can see that 55 is right where it hit right there. Like, you can, well, holy crap. Ooh. 55% was at 41, so it was setting it like right here. Like around right there. So it would have gotten hit. Yeah, right there. And let's see the history of this coin really fast. Yeah, I mean, it's got about a year of history, which is all right, but I mean, it's just been going down. And like that year of history, it had finally crossed its base. Like, this is like a very, very, very significant major base. And you can see, like, now this I've seen this, I've covered this before a million times, is like, when you get a base like this, usually what happens is it'll come down and then it'll test it. And once you get that confirmation, then it takes this huge thunder candle impulsive move. And now it's going down even further. Like, this is insane. And that was, look at this. It's like came down, weak response. All right, so we're nearing 50 minutes. But I think it's helpful to just see this like repetitively over and over. So you can be like, aha. And now I haven't really gone over like where to buy. But I mean, in the case of, this has come down like 14% and then it came back up. And then this came down like whatever percent and came back up. But then you see right here, it's like, now I know this was like, a mega drop. So there is that, that's why I'm like, well, where do you buy it? It's like, well, if it's going to come down that far, then it's only going to come up. Like, I mean, that is a whole lot. That's way more. Like, I'm expecting more like 30%, So, I mean, I'd be wussing out and selling it at 30%. 30% bounce. I'm like, let's get rid of some. And I would definitely like let go of a pretty good amount of my size. Like, I'd like to be in profit, especially with something like this. Like, I would, me personally, I'm used to doing the ProSum Solutions bot where I'm getting rid of like pretty much everything at these like, discount my customer moments. So slang it, I'm slanging that crypto, slang it, I'm slanging that crypto, slang it.